Hi, this is Matthew Ricks, and for over 25 years, my life's work and passion has been helping you, the artist in the music industry. I started at the age of 16 years old at Jive Records, being a regional promotions coordinator, went on to marketing. I've done A&R for a few separate record labels at different times. I've toured with bands as road manager, as merchandise. I've been a consultant since 2014. I started doing the Mattrix Minute, which you can listen to on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, over 25 million streams. And it's just been me, about 90 seconds, talking to you about the music industry, whether it be touring, record labels, or any of that stuff. And I get emails from artists at MatthewRicks.com that want me to answer their question, give them some advice, whatever. So what we're going to do now is talk about it on YouTube, and if you're listening to it in podcast form, because I feel like a lot of times with artists, you might feel like your situation is so unique. Like we all think, like regardless if we've got problems in our lives or we're working or whatever, we all think, well, my situation is so unique. But really, when you talk to people, you find out that it's not that unique, or it's not that scary, that people have maybe made worse mistakes than you, or they might have journeyed further along the road than you. When it comes to understanding the music industry or being an emerging artist, I think at times we feel like our situation is so unique. But what I want to do with this is, you submit your question, because not only will you get the answer, I'll give you the best answer I possibly can, but you might be helping another artist somewhere around the world who's going through the exact same thing. So we got this email today. This situation might not be a normal one. That's why we're going to start off with this one. This person is a listener of the Mattrix Minute. We're going to go ahead and call him Bob. As I answer a lot of your questions, we're going to have a lot of Bobs. Just what it is. It's just weird. A lot of Bobs in the world. And I think his questions is a unique one. So let's dive into this. And once again, if you have a question that you want answered on about the music industry or the music business, just go to MatthewRicks.com. Here's the email. He says, "Hi, Matthew. My name is Bob, and before anything else, I just want to say I am a huge fan of the Mattrix Minute. I've been following it for a few years now, and I appreciate all that you put into it." Thanks, Bob. That means a lot. Actually means more than you know. The Mattrix Minute was created to pour back into artists and not have them be scammed or have to pay, $500 for information that is readily available to those in the music industry. And I feel like the music industry is one of those things that we constantly, if you're in the music industry, you constantly feel like you got to be worried about someone stealing your ideas or, trying to best you or any of that stuff. And when I started the Mattrix Minute, I just really didn't care. Like, I was just going to give you everything I got, because I also know that this is a really evolving industry. And even 10 years ago, what it was 10 years ago is not what it is today. Let's jump into his question. He said, "Recently, I stepped into something brand new for me, making Christian music." Christian music is cool. I love a lot of Christian music, depending on what it is. I think Christian music is having a serious moment right now in the industry with artists like Forrest Frank, artists like Lecrae, artists like Brandon Lake. I think that Christian music is not what it was 20 years ago or longer, where it was pretty lame, to be honest with you. I think that, I'll be honest with you, I think Christian hip hop is better than general market hip hop is these days. I think it's more creative. I shout out to, the Lecraes, the Indie Tribes, the Tory Deshaun's, the Jay Whiteheads. Like, I just think that these guys are absolutely out there crushing it and making better music than the general market. Bob goes on to say, "I never made music before, but I felt a pull to start writing. What I've been doing is writing lyrics and putting them into instrumentals of songs I already love and know, and so does everyone else." So we have a parody situation happening here, but props to you for starting something. Most people would love to start writing music or recording music, and it's what I like to call one of these days. It's the Hawaii postcard that sits on so many people's refrigerators that one day I'm going to make it to Hawaii, and then they just, they end up dead and they never went to Hawaii. So props to you, Bob, for starting to do something and be creative and not just sit there and talk about it one day. A lot of people dream of making music, but you actually took the step and began writing, and that's a huge deal. So I do want to call you out for that. His email says, "Now I'm at the stage where I'd like to start recording, but I've run into what feels like a pretty big roadblock. Most, if not all, of these songs would require derivative license. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to pull the music from a Bruno Mars song, or you're going to pull a Paul McCartney song and use their music and put Christian lyrics on it, it does fall under derivative works. And the simple reality is that publishers for big songs or big artists aren't handing those out to just anybody who contacts them, especially when you're a brand new artist, because they're going to protect that brand more than anything. Even if you were able to break through and get on someone's radar to get a derivative license, I think the cost is going to be maybe your salary for a year. So I definitely would tell you not to put your energy there, because I think that you're going to get ignored. You're going to get ignored by everybody. But if you do happen to have somebody squeak through and reply to you, the cost is going to be more than you're willing, or that you should be willing to spend. He goes on to say, maybe I could attempt a fair use or parody argument, kind of like what Weird Al does. Well, Weird Al also gets permission from the artist that he does parody. Well, as a follower of Jesus myself, I'd be very careful of claiming you're writing worship music and putting it under the parody genre. He says, except mine would be worship instead of humor. Parody worship. That's a new genre. Never heard of that one. I do get a lot of emails at times from artists who are basically want to rip off somebody else's work, and they want to use it under the parody umbrella. But parody protection under fair use is very specific. It only works when you're poking fun at the original artist. Worship rewrites don't qualify for that. So that's not a safe path unless you want to get sued. Unless you want to get a takedown notice from wherever you distribute these songs. He goes on to say, my other option is to collaborate with musicians to create original instrumentals and turn my lyrics into fully original songs. Bob, now you're talking. And the reason being is because as a Christian, what are the first few lines in the Bible? In the beginning, God created. God is the creator of everything. The first thing he ever did was create. He didn't parody, he didn't steal, he created. And you want to make music to glorify God, I think the best thing to do is be original and be creative in it. Also, using your own original ideas, you don't have to worry about lawsuits. You don't have to worry about anybody saying you're ripping off Paul McCartney, or, also you don't have to go around telling people you do parody worship music, which I don't know a lot of churches that would even welcome that idea. You'd have full ownership, no permission needed, no takedown notices to be worried about, and you get to flex your creative juices. Basically, what you're trying to do right now is, maybe you're a singer, you're a great singer, but you have ChatGPT write your worship songs for you. Like, you're kind of halfway to the dance, but you're not fully going there. Now, you love these songs and you want to honor the Lord with your songs. You can always take inspiration from those songs. Take inspiration from the songs you love. Let them inspire you to create something bigger and better. But build something new that's original. Build something that is your voice, not Paul McCartney, not Pitbull, or whoever you plan on ripping off. Because at the end of the day, even Weird Al is ripping off these artists, but now you want to do it without the millions of dollars that Weird Al uses, the publicity. I mean, a lot of artists do let Weird Al use the songs because they make a lot of money from it. You're not going to be able to offer them that. So anyways, Bob, thanks for sending in the email. I hope that helps. Not only you, but others who might be stuck in that same crossroads, which I hope there's not a lot of artists who are looking to become the next generation's Weird Al. But hey, I've seen weirder things happen. Now, for anyone else watching, if you have a question on the music industry and want me to answer it on camera for not only you, but for the rest of the world, maybe you can help some other artists in the journey that you're in, just go to MatthewRicks.com and click Submit Your Question. Make it 2 to 5 paragraphs, so it's not too long, but it's also not too short. We'll respond as soon as we possibly can. I am Matthew Ricks, and until next time, I will talk to you later.